Have you ever wondered what not to do in Costa Rica? I will tell you the things you don't think of, the things you need to suffer through to know.
I'm so freaking excited. I'm ready to put these muscles to work.
But in fact, we were not ready for what Costa Rica had in store for us. Hello everyone, welcome to our 2-week Costa Rica trip. Costa Rica was truly spectacular, and I want to show you the highlights as well as the lowlights of our adventure. We drove over 1,600 kilometers to various locations throughout Costa Rica. We had some crazy unexpected things happen, and trust me, we wish we would have known what we know now. Planning for them is key, and so maybe you can learn from our trip too. Without further ado, here is our trip. And on day 1, we landed in San Jose to explore the Pre-Columbian Gold Museum. We have to say that there were not a whole lot of things we enjoyed in San Jose, besides the museum and the local markets. What you saw earlier was an interactive projector showcasing the creation of the universe according to the Bri and the Kipikar tribes. Forgive me if I mispronounced that. And each level shows how each part of the universe was formed. The history of this goes deep, so I won't explain it in this video, but you should check it out. On the second day, we decided to explore Los Quetzales National Park. Apparently you can find quetzals there. I mean, obviously you probably could. We did see a few small birds, and this bird. It makes a sound that can only be compared to me hitting my toe on the side of a bed frame. The drive to get to this park and the hikes around the park were not worth it, in our opinion, but we did make one friend that day, and by we, I mean Ashley did, and Ashley almost took her to Canada as a result. But after some convincing, Ashley let the cat go. We also did a quick trip out to Cartago that day, and we saw a big Christmas tree, some cool candy cane walkways. We also checked out a few markets, including one where we bought these ponchos. On day 3, we checked out Bonsai Mundo, which grows bonsai trees in their bonsai garden. And then we sat on our buns for the next hour, watching the clouds go by. Around noon, we started to make the drive up to Volcano Irazu. Guy at the front gates was saying that we would probably not see any volcano, and usually when it's cloudy, it stays cloudy for the rest of the day. But we had hope. It was just our luck that just before we were about to leave, the clouds actually started to dissipate, and we started to actually see the volcano. A few things that I wish we would have known before was A, the weather, and B, to plan a reservation. As with most national parks in Costa Rica and volcanoes, you need to actually prepare on their website a reservation. And without one of those, you're stuck trying to get Wi-Fi at the top of a volcano to book that reservation. Visiting Costa Rica may upset your stomach just due to the different bacteria living there. We, however, think that the chicken we had at the restaurant last night may have been left out for too long before being cooked. Regardless, I think getting sick for a bit in Costa Rica is inevitable. On our 5th day, we went to another volcano, Volcano Barva. We did try to drive up the entire way to the volcano, but the roads to get there were absolutely mangled by rain. So we parked lower down and we hiked up. Another really important tip is to bring a waterproof jacket, waterproof hiking boots, and waterproof pants. We had decent gear on, and yet we still got drenched. If Costa Rica sees you with something dry, trust me, it won't be for long. Those were my footsteps. These are my boots. And we were technically there during the dry season, which is between December to April. We made it! You wouldn't believe the view. In typical Ashley and Tyson fashion, the view was all cloudy. Though when we got closer, we could actually see some stuff. We saw a nice reservoir where the water pooled in the middle of the volcano. It was just so surreal being able to be inside of a volcano. As a bonus, we passed the division between Pacific and Caribbean rainforests. And then later on that day, Ashley met another furry friend while we were having dinner.
These local dogs are spoiled. Spoiled.
And on day 6, we went to Natura EcoPark. This place is known for preserving its unique species, like this blue morpho butterfly. As well as rescuing animals, like these crocodiles that have had injuries to their jaws. The guide there was also nice enough to allow us to take some really nice videography of these rainforest frogs. Including this really cool frog called a blue jeans poison dart frog. It's kind of hard to see, but they are actually wearing some blue jeans. There were so many different species there, and they were all so unique. Then after looking at all those species, we decided to watch these leafcutter ants go to work.
Leafcutter ant is known for its sharp jaws that can slice through the green of any leaf. And as a team, they work together to bring this food back to the colony. They can feed their larvae and continue supporting the queen.
That day we drove in total 300 kilometers to get to Liberia. On the morning of day 7, we checked out Palo Verde boat tours. We went up and down a national reserve called the Sipansi in Palo Verde. Often stopping our boat to look at caimans, birds, iguanas, and even bats. These bats are called camouflage Brazilian long-nosed bats. And what makes them unique is that all the bats will coordinate with each other in a line to make themselves look like a snake, so they'll be wiggling from side to side, frightening their predators. We also were able to hear and see howler monkeys. We caught them making their infamous howls pretty much at the start of the tour, and ended the tour actually being able to see them. The tour guide was very knowledgeable, the captain of the boat was very skilled, and the trip ended with an amazing homemade meal. I could not recommend this company enough. All this was done before noon, so we spent the afternoon at Playa Panama watching the waves, observing the hermit crabs, and basking in the Costa Rica sun.
We should check the weather.
Before our trip started to get really chaotic,
I've been dealing with that all day. Fuck. The phone.
we spent day 8 at Playa Ostional, one of the stomping grounds of the infamous sea turtle. We spent the day there looking at sea turtle dens, as well as checking out the neighboring crabs. And again, observing more hermit crabs. Unfortunately, we didn't see any sea turtles. You can definitely go on night tours to see the sea turtles, but we elected not to do that. As we were leaving Playa Ostional, we decided to stop at one more beach, and this beach actually had monkeys jumping around the trees. Take a look. Again, this was a very calm day, but we weren't ready for what was to come. On day 9, we marched through streams, swam through deep rapids, and climbed through bat-infested caves to get to La Leona waterfall. The last hurdle to get there was to get through the entrance to the waterfall by climbing on rope. But the flow of water that day was more extreme than usual. And the worst factor was, we both had pants on. No one told us pants were going to be a problem. We had to find out the hard way. Ashley went first, and Ashley got really far, but the closer you got to the entrance, the more the flow of water shot out. The high-flowing water dragged Ashley's pants down to the boots and then got stuck there, rendering Ashley's boot tread useless on the upper rocks. Then the increased drag from the pants acting as a parachute underwater made it even harder for Ashley to climb out, even with the assistance of staff. Ashley almost made it, but the life jacket Ashley had on ripped. This, combined with Ashley's exhaustion, ultimately sent Ashley downstream. Unfortunately, communication between us was very difficult, and I went right after with the exact same problems. I remember my pants acting as a parachute, the rocks being impossible to grip onto, and the exhaustion seeping in from trying to hold on to that rope with both hands. Luckily, my life jacket survived, and the view upstream was spectacular. Despite the smiles on my face, the whole experience was not worth it. We needed to know what to wear and what not to wear. But also, this was dangerous. The rocks on either side posed safety concerns. This wasn't even the most stressful part of the trip. After this stressful adventure, we rested at our hotel before heading to the Tamarindo night market. This market seemed to target tourists as everything was expensive, but if you want to sample some great food, this is the place for it. We did some night dancing and we bought some souvenirs. After this day, we thought the most stressful days were over. Little did we know, day 10 was going to test both Ashley and I's patience, sanity, and a relationship. Before day 10, we thought we had it all planned. We'd drive 458 kilometers from Liberia to Manuel Antonio and finally to Drake Bay. But our plan quickly unraveled. At Manuel Antonio National Park, we learned that the park was booked out for 2 weeks already, so never mind that idea. We opted to go to the beach there instead. But the parking guard was trying to swindle us with fees, and the beach was crowded, so we turned back. Then we got stuck in mud trying to find a sloth, and after some help from locals, we managed to free the SUV and continue to Drake Bay. But the drive to Drake Bay was going to be the most nerve-wracking drive ever. We learned Drake Bay was going to have us go through even more mud, and on top of it all, we had to cross over rivers. We had doubts that our rental SUV was actually going to make it by road to Drake Bay, but we had to get there. Our hotel and whale watching tour could not be cancelled. So could we go there by plane? It was too late to book it. What about by boat? There's a chance. It was 1:30 p.m. and the GPS said we had 2 hours of a drive to get to Serpay, and we needed to be there for 4 p.m., as that's when the boat leaves. The next 2 hours were excruciating as we learned that sometimes the boat leaves early. Were we going to end up wasting our money, or could we make it? Well, we made it. It was 3 p.m. when we got there. We talked with the captain and they told us they were going to set sail for 4 p.m. But we were also told that Drake Bay does not use credit cards, and the captain only accepts cash. And we didn't have any cash. So we had 1 hour to leave Serpay's dock to get to a bank, which is 20 minutes away, then drive back another 20 minutes to get back to the dock. So, with adrenaline pumping, we drove. The next 20 minutes went by so quickly. We got to a bank. Ashley went in to take cash out of the ATM, but the ATM was not agreeing with Ashley's card. Ashley tried troubleshooting with the front desk, but still, the ATM did not work. At this point, it was 3:38. We did not have much time, and we almost lost hope. But we decided to go to a different bank. Ashley went in and withdrew the cash. But it was 3:42 and we still had 20 minutes of a drive ahead of us. We had to drive, and drive fast. The next 20 minutes went by even quicker than the first 20 minutes, but by this time, we memorized the turns to get there. As we drove, Ashley packed our suitcases in preparation for boat loading. We got there for 4 p.m. on the dot. People were loading on the boat. I jumped out of the SUV with both hands full of suitcases and waddled down to the boat, all while Ashley parked the SUV and handed the keys off to some random person. The boat was full, but we managed to sneak in 2 spots. They squeezed our suitcases along the aisles of the boat, and the boat left at 4:05. Miraculously, we made it on the boat just as it was leaving. We were relieved, but in the back of our minds, we just hoped our keys were in the right hands. The boat ride was cramped, but nothing compared to the wild scramble to get there.
Yeah, we're going a little fast.
When we arrived in Drake Bay, the boat was parked 15 feet from shore, and we waddled through waist-deep water to the shore. At this point, I thought we were on another episode of Lost.
I was not expecting this.
No.
And a jeep took us to the hotel. We survived.
We made it to Drake Bay. We had no plan. We had no idea what we were doing. And we were rushing to the last second. But we made it.
And look what we got.
Nice. Ooh. Ooh.
On day 11, we went on a whale watching tour, though spoiler warning, December might be too early still for the humpback whales to be in Costa Rica. We climbed on the boat and took off to sea. It was not long till we encountered dolphins. Dolphins ended up playing with our boat for a bit. And the conditions were also right for us to jump into sea, which I did, and I saw so many fish. They kept swimming circles around me, making me feel like a fish god. But the dolphins never came into sight on my GoPro, despite their mocking calls. The captain of the boat brought us to a lovely waterfall, as well as to a hidden inlet, where we saw toucans, sloths, and a capuchin monkey. Then it was time to head back and rest up. We thought we would squeeze in one last hike in Drake Bay before leaving, but the rain ended up drenching us, so we stayed in our hotel till it was time to ride the ferry. It's very important to pack extra clothes in Costa Rica for these moments because clothes don't dry in Costa Rica due to the humidity. After our ferry, we came back to find our SUV in one piece, thankfully. But we realized that our clothes from the La Leona waterfall were still in the back of the SUV, unwashed. The heat combined with the dirty water of La Leona made our clothes stink so bad, the smell was unbearable in that SUV. So our final mission while driving to the airport was to deep clean the heck out of the SUV, so we weren't choking on our own breath. So in the end, Costa Rica was amazing. The wildlife and adventures will be sure to serve memories for a lifetime. But please, learn from our mistakes, and you too will survive Costa Rica. If you learned or enjoyed this Costa Rica video, be sure to like and subscribe. Click here if you want to see one of our recent adventures to Bella Coola in British Columbia.